Insulation. Mason bees like morning sunshine. So look for a south or east facing spot. A fence or a wall or side of a building is always a good selection. Avoid a spot under a swaying branch since the bees don't like dappled shade. So I always prune my trees up each spring so that's not covering their hotel. Pick a spot well above the ground. This is a custom built frame for my friends. And it holds 16,000 tubes, okay? A lot of eggs are going to be harvested from that. I call it my MB Country Club. So insert the nest into the mounting brackets, however you decide to build it. Remove the plastic caps from the tubes and insert them into your nesting frames if you're buying brand new sanitized nesting tubes. This commercial sized unit has detachable hole plates to harvest the eggs by hand. So the mason bee life cycle, I covered that a little bit before, but what does that look like? So mason bees normally begin to appear in early spring, usually in March or April, depending on a location where you live at in the country. They mate soon after emerging from their home and immediately begin their search for pollen and nectar. The females also begin looking for a new home. If she finds a tube or beetle boring a tube that has previously been used, she will basically investigate it, and if she doesn't like it after first cleaning it out, she will find another nesting tube, and if it meets her satisfaction, she will then use it immediately. Smart little bee, right? So she will start by going to the back of the tube and laying an egg. This is where it all starts. Depositing some pollen and nectar for food and building a wall to create a cell. This wall building is why they are called mason bees. She repeats this process about a dozen times, creating a cell for each and every egg. So this activity usually continues through June, and then they begin dying off. But the eggs are now hatching and eating the food that was left for them. The larvae go through their entire cycle inside each individual cell, molting 4 to 5 times. So around August or so, they will spin a cocoon and begin gradually developing into what we know as an adult mason bee. So what I'm going to tell you next is general mason bee information. So I highlighted a lot of this info in video 1 if you've watched it. So mason bees are often referred to as solitary bees because they do not have a social order. They have their own individual independence. So like honeybees and bumblebees, they play well with each other, but they do not have a queen or a hive, and they do not make honey, as I also covered in regards to the mason bee. However, they are perfectly happy making a nest right next to honeybees. It's a non-issue. Mason bees are such effective pollinators, though. Oh my gosh, especially in your fruit trees in your garden, because they have a lot of hair on their body, which picks up pollen. They will pollinate, get this mind blower, they will pollinate over 1,200 flower blooms every single day. So unlike honeybees, which clean themselves after each visit to a flower and lose 90% of the pollen, the mason bees carry all their pollen from flower to flower. That's why they're so important as little pollinators. Mason bees tend not to sting, though, because they are not a social bee and do not have a hive or a queen to protect. So the only way to get one of these little rock stars to sting is to squeeze them. And even then, it probably won't sting you. But why would you want to squeeze these cute little things? So fortunately, mason bees are not susceptible to the Vario Mite, which has caused such havoc with honeybees all over North America. That's the terrible mite that annihilates this, besides glyphosate and other garbage chemicals that people put on the ground on their plants or what they like to pollinate. Nasty stuff. So now that you've learned more about mason bees, it's time to add these wonderful, wonderful insects to your garden. Or friends. We won't call them insects. So like all beneficial insects, you can be sure with the mason bees that they'll dine only on your garden's pests and won't harm good bugs or your plants, like your ladybugs, your praying mantis. They're friendly and work well with them. So complement your garden, the food source for these mason bees, with natural beneficials that won't disrupt nature or its beneficial insects. I preach this all the time. Let alone the importance of our soil web that we're here to maintain and take care of. So each and every one of us has the ability to preserve and take care of everything that we garden with both healthy inputs and biology and our gardening practices. So in my next video, this is going to be an exciting one, I will introduce you to a mason bee expert. He will dive a little deeper into these hard-working army of mason bees. We take a look at his custom design for your garden and see exactly what bees do in these tubes. Or maybe this one could be a little different. You'll have to watch and see. But I hope you like this video. Please comment your thoughts and please follow my brand new YouTube channel. I always have something good to share. It's my mission statement all the time. So thanks for watching, and always, always be happy. And I will see you in the next video. And we're going to talk about this and maybe find some good books. See you then.